Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to talk about Batman 89, number 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I am your host, Brent Casina. And today we're going to talk about Batman 89, number 1. This is a DC digital-first comic book, and it's by Sam Hamm and Joe Quinones. And, I'm sorry it's late. I'm over here in Japan trying to beat the jet lag and stay up as late as possible so I can get back on track. But, and I've had a couple bourbons, maybe not one too many, but enough to make me brain dead. But I read Batman 89 and I want to talk about it for, a couple of reasons. Partly because I was so excited about it, and secondly, because, man, this was kind of disappointing. So before we get into all the details, let me ask you to please do one thing. Please subscribe. Helps me out, helps the channel grow, lets you know when I drop new videos, all that good stuff. So, Batman 89. So, we've had a number of series from DC Comics over the years that tie into existing TV or movie properties. It started with Batman 66. That lasted for a couple of years. I didn't read any of those very much. I think I read the first 3 issues. The interesting thing about those, when they came out originally on the iPads and all that stuff, was that they were motion comics. So you would swipe and swipe, and you would have new panels or new animations or something like that pop up. As DC moved away from that format, I guess because it was too expensive to have the artists do all these different details, if they were eventually going to just print them out, they moved away from that to now they're just basically doing or they were like with the Injustice books and the Mortal Kombat books, and what was the other one? Deceased Hope at World's End was a digital first, where you were basically getting like a full. So if you're looking at me on your TV, you would get like a full 4x3 image, which is basically half a comic book page normally. So you would get 20 of those, which would amount to like about 10 pages of regular comics. And they were formatted in such a way half the time that you would actually get a complete story or a good cliffhanger at the end of those, 10 regular pages or 20 digital pages, which were 20 halves. Then recently, they kind of switched to this format with, I think, maybe Legends of the Bat, Dark Knight, Legends of the Bat, and Batman 89, and Justice League. There's new Justice League Unlimited title that's following that storyline. Batman: The Adventures Continue from the animated series. I've been reading that. It's pretty good. Where instead of doing the halves, they're actually giving you the entire page, even though they're still kind of instructing the artist to draw in such a way, to split that page in half, at least on Batman: The Adventures Continue. Batman 89 is kind of a departure from that because they're not really telling Joe Quinones to draw a half page on the top and a half page on the bottom. They're just saying, here's the page. So they're giving you the full issue for, I think it was regular comic price. Let me look it up here. But I don't think it was that, normally when you would get the half page segments, they would be, like 99 cents or something like that. But I think this regular comic book and the Adventures Continue are all going for regular comic book prices on Comixology. As well as that, we have Superman 78 that's going to come out in maybe a couple of weeks or something like that. Yeah, this one was $3.99 on Comixology. So a regular price for a comic book. Same as Batman: The Adventures Continue, Season 2, which I'm reading. So you're getting a full comic book for the full price. So that's not that bad. But they're doing these issues to tie into existing properties. So right now, the latest craze, we had Batman 66, we had Wonder Woman 77, and now we're moving on to, I think, the most anticipated title, and the one that's probably going to do the best, which is this one, which is Batman 89. Now, this is written by Sam Hamm, and if you don't know who Sam Hamm is, he's the writer of the original Batman script on Tim Burton's Batman movie, basically. So they're hiring him. He's written a couple comics before. I think there's a trade where he's actually the guy that created Henry Ducard after he wrote Batman 89. I believe this is the history here. Correct me if I'm wrong down below. But the general gist is, before, during, after Batman 89 and all that crazy Batman hysteria that was going on at the time, DC hired Sam Hamm to write more stories, and he actually introduced the character of Henry Ducard, which was later pulled in from Christopher Nolan into the Batman Begins movie. So he does have a history with comic books. He has written a little bit, not a ton though, but he's so revered for this Batman 89 movie that he's the logical fit to continue the story from where Batman Returns ended off into the future. So that's basically where this comic book picks up. With Batman Returns has happened, you've had Batman 89, Batman Returns, and then we're going off with this storyline. Now, I think the nice part here is that you have Joe Quinones. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, sir, but you are a fucking fantastic artist. So at least let me say that. I first discovered Mr. Quinones on, what was it? The Wednesday comics issues where he was doing Green Lantern. And Joe has this very animated style. It's beautiful. It's very classic, but it's still very modern in the way he does things. So he's a fantastic artist. But I was surprised. Honestly, I thought he was a little bit older, but I think he's my age, maybe 35 or so, maybe in his late 40s. He's a fairly young artist, and I'm surprised that he had not, I guess I'm expecting these artists to be a little bit older, but I think Wednesday Comics was his breakout success, that Green Lantern strip he did. I don't know who wrote it. Maybe it was Brian Azzarello or somebody like that. But, I've been really excited for this book because Joe has been posting a bunch of character designs and preview pages and stuff from these issues, and it looks fantastic. Looks phenomenal. And it is a phenomenal art book in terms of that stuff. Like likenesses, he gets down pretty much 100%, as close to the line as he can. I don't know whether, everybody's signed away their likenesses. We get a little bit of Bruce Wayne in here. He does look like Michael Keaton from the 89 Batman movie. You have Harvey Dent here, played by, the guy who played Lando Calrissian. His name is escaping me now. It's killing me. I'm sorry, forgetting your name, sir, but you're a phenomenal actor, and we all love you from our childhoods. But he was basically playing Harvey Dent in one of the films, and he never got the chance to play Two-Face. So it seems like they're kind of setting that up here in this Batman 89 book. Now, I've seen other designs for Robin. If you've heard the rumors of Robin being played by Marlon Wayans in the maybe sequel to Batman Returns or something like that, Sam Hamm and Joe Quinones are kind of picking up on that thread, and they're putting that into this book. So basically, this takes place right after Batman Returns, ignoring all the Joel Schumacher stuff. We're staying with the nitty-gritty Anton Furst designed Gotham and going from there. Now, what Joe Quinones is doing, which I think is fantastic, is he's combining the different bat suits to fit his style. So he's taking the sleeker, stylings of Batman Returns in terms of the cowl and the cape and all the things that it can do, while combining it with how the Batman 89 movie had like the sculpted abs that were more realistic as opposed to futuristic when you got to the Return suit. And, he's keeping the belt, he's making it look like Michael Keaton, and he's also keeping the regular bat symbol. If you remember Batman 89 and you were looking at that poster, you saw the bat symbol. But then when you watched the movie, you saw these extra wings on the chest, and you might have gone like, why the hell does there these extra little spikes on the bottom of the bat symbol? That was never explained. I don't know if they're going to do it or not. I think Joe Quinones hinted on Twitter that they would explain how we got from the original bat symbol to the one that they arrived in Returns, which is the classic one from the 60s and 70s and all that. So it's very exciting. The problem is with this first issue, though, is that it doesn't really have a slam-bang knockout. I think it's too much setup and not enough action. And maybe Joe has been posting too many designs or too many preview pages from later issues that are much, much later in the story, to where I expected more to happen in this first issue than actually did. It's not to say that it's terrible. It's certainly readable, and I think it's worth your time if you're interested in continuing this Batman Returns '89 story, but it's just not the phenomenal comic book I was expecting. And maybe some of that, lays at the feet of Sam Hamm as well. He's the writer, but it's pretty clear that these guys are setting up Mr. Lando Calrissian to be Two-Face, and they're setting up the Harvey Dent storyline, which, if you've seen the Long Halloween movies, you've kind of experienced a little bit more recently. I know in Batman and Robin a few years ago, after the New 52, or what was it? Not DCU, the relaunch after that, Rebirth, prior beginning of that or something like that, they did another Two-Face origin. So it seems like Two-Face origins are in vogue right now. We're getting a lot of them, although this time we're getting them with Lando Calrissian. Sorry, sir, I'm forgetting your freaking name. I really should have looked this up before I got in here. But all the likenesses are there, so if you're looking at Harvey Dent, Two-Face, and you're like, I know that guy, this the guy from Star Wars, you're absolutely right. It is, because he played Harvey Dent in the Batman Tim Burton movies, but never got the chance to be Two-Face after that. So it's pretty clear that I think they're setting this up. There's a lot of stuff here with the coin, and it being a double-headed coin, the making your own luck, as Christopher Nolan put it. All that is kind of cool, but there's not, like, all the shots of Batman here, there was never, like, I kind of expected a full glory shot of this wonderful Joe Quinones artwork here in this first issue to really make you go, wow, and really make your mouth water of how gorgeous his artwork is. And maybe that's due to me paying attention to what he was posting on Twitter with his designs and all that. So if you're coming into it cold, you might enjoy it a little bit more than I have. So, your opinions may vary, right? The other fun things that are thrown in here is, we're seeing the penny start to come into the play here. It looks like there's other Joker goons that are still running around Gotham and Joker imposters, so I don't know if the Jack Nicholson version of the Joker is going to show up later in the story. As you remember, I think he fell off the side of the building in Batman '89, right? It was never really confirmed if he was alive or dead. So maybe that's here. But there's definitely guys running around in the same coat that Bob was in the Batman '89 movie, with the little Joker patch on the side and the purple coat and the hat and all that. So you also at the same time have the guys from the circus that Tim Burton introduced in Batman Returns in this first issue, with the big giant skull heads and all that stuff. So it's kind of blending of these two worlds to make one coherent story. It doesn't blow me away the way that I kind of expected, coming from the guy who wrote Batman '89, is so revered for it, and the wonderful art of Joe Quinones, as wonderful as it is, doesn't have a really big, money shot moment in this first issue like he's been posting on Twitter. So maybe it suffers for me from a little bit of that. But if you haven't been paying attention on Twitter or whatever, certainly go check this issue out. It is worth your time. I'm going to continue to buy this series. It is only 6 issues long until they decide to do more, I think, the same way that they did with Batman, the animated series. The Adventures Continue, which is too long of a title. Holy shit. But Joe Quinones is, again, on fire. I'm, a little bit surprised that it's taken this long for him to get back on another big mainstream book. I know he's done some fill-in stuff here and there before, but man, he is a phenomenal artist. And I think, just for his art alone, I could recommend this book if you enjoy this classic kind of cartoonish style that he has. But I'm looking forward. I like this world. I think it's cool how Sam Hamm is pulling in all these disparate elements from both movies, like the cape turning into bat wings with the rigid skeleton from Batman Returns is in here. But at the same time, this suit very much evokes the classic '89 architecture, just slimmed down a little bit so you're not quite as noticing that it's like giant foam rubber on the sides of Michael Keaton's head. And the Bruce Wayne in here does look like Michael Keaton. Quinones does a good job of that likeness as well. Even though I don't know if they're like actually doing the whole likeness thing, or if they're just kind of like tiptoeing the line to try and stay outside the legalities of having to pay Michael Keaton all this money. But, you know, he's got the little gray temples and stuff on here, which is very much what Michael Keaton had back in the day, 35 years ago or more. Crazy. Or not 35, I'm 35. 30 years ago at this point in time. So it is cool. The other interesting thing that they're picking up here, I think that will entice most people, is this idea of Robin being a black kid from Gotham, played by Marlon Wayans at the time. So I don't know if they're going to do the likeness there. I know I have seen some sketches, but I can't remember off the top of my head. That's probably the bourbon talking. But it's definitely a different design for Robin rather than the red and yellow. This tends to be more black and yellow, and I don't know if that is based on what they were thinking back at the time while they were still kind of planning this out, or if it's kind of pulled from what works best with a character of the skin tone. Certainly the way that Duke Thomas as the Signal has a black and yellow costume that looks really good against his darker skin tone. You know, so that may be a part of it as well. But we have Superman 78 coming out very, very soon from I'm looking at the last page here. Robert Venditti, who's a fantastic writer, and artist Wilfredo Torres, who's certainly drawing a Christopher Reeve-esque Superman. So if you're interested in that at all, please go check that out. But I mean, I want to give Batman 89 #1 a good recommendation, but at the same time, I'm like, the story didn't wow me yet so far in this first issue, which is 24 pages of fantastic artwork. So if I had to give it a recommendation, it might be like 1 of 2 thumbs up or a 3 out of 5 star review. But I hope this gets better with more issues as we get down the line and start to develop the story and really feel like where this is going. Because right now it's kind of a mishmash of, you know, Harvey Dent trying to take down Batman, and Batman and Gordon talking, and then introducing this new Robin character at the very tail end of this first issue. So I think it's an interesting start, but it's not quite a slam bang blowout first issue as one might have expected with something as much hype as this has had over the last year, as we've known that this has been working on. So that's my thoughts on Batman 89. Sorry if I'm stumbling. Again, it is kind of late over here in Japan. I'm trying to stay awake as long as possible. It's not even 11:30, but man, I'm trying to combat this jet lag. So again, thank you guys very much for watching. We got more videos coming from me this week. Some from here, some from pre-recorded stuff like I was telling you about in the last video I posted on the channel. So lots of content here on BK's Bullets. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, we will see you guys next time here in The Funny Pages.